Now a class has some special methods which begin and end by double underscore, and one of those special methods is init. This function is automatically executed when an object is defined. That means you don't have to invoke this init method. The moment an object of a class is defined, the Python will search for this method, and if it is there, it will be automatically executed. The purpose of this special method is to initialize the attributes of a class. See, if you don't initialize the attributes of any class and use them into some expression, obviously those attributes will have the garbage or null value, and that is for sure that we won't be getting the desired results, right? So initialization of attribute is very essential, and that is done through this method init. Now what is a default constructor? I'll explain it here. See, here you are making an object R of red class, right? How many arguments you are sending while creating a class? Nothing. So that means Python will look for an init method without any parameter. Now what is self? Self is the object which is invoking this method, right? And it is always there. So there is no parameter here, and this init will be automatically executed when an object is defined. So the moment an object is defined, Python will come over here. It will confirm that there should not be any parameters. When there are no parameters, this is known as default constructor. Through this print statement, you get the message on the screen, this is default constructor. Self, that means the object itself, that is R. The attribute L of object R should be initialized to value 5. The attribute B of object R should be initialized to value 8. So it confirms that the constructors are meant for initializing the attributes of an object, right? So control will come over here. Area of rectangle is, you are invoking the rect area method through R object. Control will come over here. Obviously self is understood to be there, right? Return self.l, that is the length attribute of the R is multiplied with the breadth attribute of R, and the result of multiplication will be displayed over here. So this is the example of default constructor. Let's copy it. See, this is another way of defining the default constructor. See, you are defining an object R of red class. Python will search for an init method, right? And obviously this self is the object itself. These are the default parameters. I assume that you've seen my function lectures, and there was a lecture on default value parameters and keyword arguments. Look for that lecture. I am providing you the link in the description box. Do watch all the lectures of the functions, because what are classes? Classes are the collection of attributes and functions. So you will understand classes very well if you have a strong concept of functions in your mind. Okay. So these are the default value parameters. Self.l, this value of x will be assigned to the L attribute of the object R. The 5 will be assigned to L of object R. This value y, that is 8, will be assigned to the B attribute of object R. So these default value parameters are used to assign values to the attributes L and B of object R. Here you are invoking the rect area method. So control will come over here and it will display multiplication of L and B attributes of object R. Let's copy. See. So default value parameters can be used in the default constructors.